And I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream from the top of my lungs various swear words and racial epithets the police have been called frequently. Hello, it's Yahtzee Crowshaw and this is my friend.
Hello.
His name's Hello.
You didn't finish. I have like fucking what's up blue balls now.
I like to tease you.
You bastard. I thought you were gonna do it. I thought you were gonna fucking finish.
It's very naive of you to think that. I'm surprised you would think that.
No, I at first I didn't think you were going to, and then you actually just went hell for leather and did it. And then you turned it around.
Yeah.
I think that was me.
I was going to take you right up to the brink and then stop for enhanced pleasure. That's exactly how I masturbate. Anyway, what are you playing?
I'm playing Wonderboy 3: The Dragon's Trap from the Sega Master System.
I see. Was this made by the same guys as Alex Kidd?
I cannot honestly tell you.
Because it seems similar. You really did seem to have a type when you were on the Master System, didn't you?
Dude, like, this is basically all Master System games. Like, a lot of Master System games look like this, played like this.
Well,
the weird thing is, the original Wonderboy was a little kid with, like, green like leaf trousers, running along, throwing hatchets, and then it became a fantasy game.
They have a sword and a shield.
Yeah. Poke, poke, poke.
Is there a plot?
Yeah, basically, I'm a little hero who's here to, like, basically wreck a dragon's day, because, fuck him. And I'm coming in heavy, so I've got, like, as you can see, like, a lot of health.
That shield ain't doing shit.
The old repeating maze trick.
Why are you even holding it up like a Dark Souls player?
Does nothing. I think it's a stat changer, so if you've got, like, a shield up, it just reduces the amount of damage you take. Because right now, like, I'm not taking very much damage.
Oh, so you can put it down, then?
Yeah, if you... Hang on, I'll just...
Sure.
You cheeky little buggers.
Show me. Two-hand it. That's what the non-scrubs do.
Shield list. Oh, wrong way. Okay, shield list. Legendary shield. I think that's taking it away. Alright.
No, there it is.
Maybe not, yeah.
It's like Castlevania thing. Even if you can wear, like, leather armor and cool sunglasses, but you're always just Alucard wearing his Alucard robe.
Alright, so basically, I'm going through a maze, so I have to sort of find the right ways to drop down.
It's kind of in the deep end for the very start of the game.
Yeah.
This is like Last World of Mario Brothers shit.
Well, the idea is that you're actually in the last world of an adventure that you haven't been privy to.
Oh, I see. So, this is a flash forward, is it?
No. It's the start of the game, but the idea is, like, I'm coming to kill the last dragon thingy because, again, I don't know, he's probably mean.
Well, he's a dragon.
Yeah. Well, that's just racist.
I have a theory about the depiction of dragons in popular fiction.
Uh-huh.
I think they tend towards the villainous during economic downturns, and they tend towards a slightly nobler during economic booms.
Just like our opinions of other races.
I mean, the extremes would be Smaug from The Hobbit, and The Hobbit was published during the Great Depression, and on the other extreme would be Puff the Magic Dragon, and the most popular version of that by Peter, Paul and Mary came out in the 60s during the economic boom of post-war reconstruction.
Puff the Magic Dragon, damn it.
Thank you for your contribution to my intelligent debate.
Well, I'm trying to remember the way to go, because if you haven't noticed, I've been going the same. Okay, so this is new, so I come down here and it's like, alright, here's a new location.
I think it was new.
Well, I mean, it's not one of the places... Alright, now I've tried going down the right side, so I'll try going down the left. Ah, alright, yeah.
A Skellington.
So he's a new guy, so I haven't seen him, so that's a good sign. Ah, and a door.
Excuse me, mate.
All right,
have you found our heads?
Yeah, I don't have keys. Alright.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, check out what category I am. Human.
Isn't that what the Ferengis used to call
humans? No, the Andorians used to call us pinkskins. Fucking racists.
Well, the Ferengis called us something weird.
Possibly, yeah.
I think they called us humans.
I remember they were actually going to be the major villains for, I think, part of Next Gen, but then they realized that they were just kind of too silly, really.
Well, I remember that being the case in one of the episodes while Gene Roddenberry was still alive. And Gene Roddenberry was very much into the very uncomplicated plots, where he has little monstrous aliens being dicks.
Fucking...
I remember when he was alive, he was saying that Next Generation the characters in Next Generation weren't allowed to have any interpersonal conflicts.
It's a fascinating way to construct narrative.
Yeah. So thanks for dying, Gene Roddenberry, and letting everyone do what the fuck they like with Star Trek. Because I think you were a child of your age, and you were unnecessary in a more cynical time.
Well, most of the best episodes of the original series were written by other.
Well, yes, but
fucking
again, less
this has the reaction, like, you know, you push a button and then in like a second later something happens.
Yeah, it was in the 60s, wasn't it? Original Star Trek.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I said,
64. I think
very optimistic period of post-war reconstruction. So there.
Eat it, you fucking mutt! And then this guy. I've been tricked.
You've been dragging your feet. And now you're a dragon.
On the plus side, I can shoot fire.
Yeah, I mean, to your credit, you don't seem to be letting this get you down.
Hey man, I mean, come on, if you were suddenly scaly and can shoot fire...
I mean, you almost seem to have this expression of grim resignation on your face about this whole situation.
Determination of a hero, man. I'm just like, yeah, you know, whatever, I get turned into a dragon another day, you know?
Oh, looks like someone tripped the fire alarm. Better evacuate.
Yep.
No, the fire door's the other way, Mr. Cyclops.
No, the fire door's locked, you know, like all good fire doors should be. Ba-doom-tsh.
Well, perhaps the manager was trying to get the best work out of his workforce.
Okay, those blocks hurt. The 4 blocks hurt.
You hear stories about like people locking their employees into their place of work and there's a fire and everyone dies.
I think that guy was just running away from the collapsing building as well. I think I just did something really wrong.
Well,
like, he's not coming back to get me.
I think the fault lies with whoever decided to Pritt stick all these boxes to the ceiling.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good... It's not a very good storage solution.
Hey, you're not holding a shield anymore. I think we've made a breakthrough.
On the plus side, they are forming a nice way out for me. Oh, are you gonna hit me? Stop hitting me.
Man, this is like cinematic storytelling. I'm impressed.
Yeah, man. Oh.
So we want to try that again.
Alright, can't deal with that.
Yes, I did have a Master System, but for some reason, the only game I remember having was Alex Kidd in Miracle World.
Well, it being the one that it came with was...
Yeah, I mean, presumably
that guy had a pimp hat.
Presumably I had
no discernible reason.
But they don't seem to have lodged at all in my memory.
I don't know, maybe the C64 just had that sort of, you know, unique creative aspect that you sort of gravitate toward.
Possibly. I didn't have my Master System for very long. We had a burglary when I was a kid.
That sucks.
And we just didn't get one again afterwards. Got a C64 again.
With the tape?
Yep, with the tape deck.
Alright, well now I'm a dragon and I have like 1 health.
And now this is
Hawkins gives me a password.
Here's a pirate pig.
So yeah, I'm just wandering around, checking things out now.
Hey, you disappeared before the door opened. That kind of bullshit really takes me out of things. It's just the same dungeon, but now there's water.
Okay, believe it or not, Sega Master Systems used to reuse an awful lot.
Oh, right, you've made your case that this is quite a boring game. Perhaps we should talk about something else.
Okie dokie. You want to be a deer and just, hang on. Oh,
what?
That's right, I just realized this isn't.
Scratch your bollocks, what?
Well, that would be nice. No, what the?
What did you do?
Alright, well that's not a helpful door. Well, it's an exploration game, so I have to find the sort of next way that I'm meant to go. So I can't go up here, obviously, because
I feel the essence of the exploration game is for there to be other things besides what you've already seen to discover when you explore.
Well, again, the materials a Sega Master System had to work with were a little limited. This was actually an impressive game for when it came out.
Ha! I don't think they were trying.
No, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of, hey, it's just another heart. Wait, does that give me a whole... Yeah! Alright.
Wait, what happened to all those other hearts you had?
Being turned into a dragon kind of cocked them up.
I seem to remember you still had them for the first part when you were a dragon.
Yeah, then they went away.
Oh, I see. Delayed reaction thing.
Okay, can't afford that, can't afford that. I don't think I have any. Oh, I've got 0. Oh, that sucks.
I might do our list of topics in reverse order, because I have a feeling the top one you're going to be going off about.
I can stop. Like, it depends on just how much you want to talk to me.
Well, the other two aren't very big. So, first one is that the new Doom, which is not Doom 4 anymore, it's just Doom.
I like that when they just go, you know, sort of reverse.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
I don't know, man. Like, how many new names can they... Like, because the big thing at the moment was putting colon and then something else. Like, Doom, colon, shenanigans.
Well, at least that's better than...
Dicks.
Fucking the same name as before.
Alright.
Because you know what I worry about is the archivists of the future.
Somebody has to, and I'm glad it's you.
Yes. I mean...
Ooh.
I worry when they have to, like, catalogue all the Mario games. And we have to say, sorry, are we talking about Super Mario Land, Super Mario World, Super Mario 3D Land, or Super Mario 3D World? No. Super Mario 3D Land was on the DS. The 3DS, that's why it was called 3D Land. Oh, so Super Mario 3D World was on the 3DS as well. No, that was on the Wii U.
If anything, this will just give the folk of the future rich topics for various academics to debate and whine about.
Well, it'll mean there'll be rich territory for hipsters in the future, because there'll be plenty of room to say,
No, not that one.
Doom was actually Doom 4 that came out in 2014. That wasn't the original Doom. Didn't you know that? Are you stupid?
Penis.
But anyway.
Now I'm down here with these jerks.
See, this is what happens when you have an industry with no long-term memory. That's what happens when you get rid of backwards compatibility. Nobody learns anything. No one builds legacies. They just reboot all the fucking time, and I fucking hate it.
Well, I mean... Every new generation thinks its shit's new, so it's, you know, it's like us with film and TV and shit. Like, there have been remakes and reboots, and you go back and you look and find the originals, and it's like, oh, that's interesting, and it's a little learning process.
Yeah, so at least you can go back and... You can go to a video store and find DVDs of, like, old movies from the 50s.
A what store?
You know what I mean. But you can't
a bag of money
in video games because the industry psychotically cuts off the previous history every opportunity it gets.
You say as we're playing Wonderboy 3 The Dragon's Trap on widely available...
We stole it.
Yeah.
We weren't allowed to pay money to buy this anymore.
Well, there may be a way,
We knew how to get it because we're insiders.
Well, that and I used to own it. Dude, like, more than just... Oh, you fucking butthole, little crab. I think emulators are reasonably well known, and anybody who doesn't, I always take the time to go, this is MAME, or this is, this one in particular is Fusion 364, which is a really good Sega emulator, because it does everything.
I think you overestimate the buying public.
Well, they're not buying, are they?
It's important that all It's important that all history be available to all.
I agree. I think, these are important. This is why I really fucking lose my nut. No! I really lose my noodle. This fucking cloud guy
You're having some real difficulty with that sentence, aren't you? Shall I take over? So anyway, Doom 4.
I am playing a game. It's annoying when you're trying to have a conversation and play a game.
This is the point of the series. I never complain about it, neither should you.
Well, yeah, but I don't complain about you fucking up while you're trying to do two things at once. You make an issue out of it.
No, I don't.
I got a key.
Just because I'm an alpha and you're jealous. Anyway, Doom 4 was shown at QuakeCon, but no recording was allowed, so no one outside QuakeCon actually saw it. But word of mouth informs us that apparently it looked really good. But that's hype for you.
Hype! I'm going to lean forward and save the state, just because.
Okay. What we do know is that it's going back to its roots, apparently. There's no regenerating health, there's a pell-mell running headlong into the fray, shooty, action. Well, that was a laborious process.
Really? So
it's
that's interesting.
And Doom 4 is apparently going to be a reboot of the, I hesitate to use the word story. Again, like Doom 3 was as well. Because it's not much of a story, let's face it.
Yeah, back when this game has like an incredible amount of story for a fucking Sega Master System game. Like, it had an intro. It explained like what your character was and why they were doing it. In the olden days, you used to just get a character. It's like, here's Billy Jumpman, go right, and that was it. That was the big fucking deal you got.
I like how it established the story without too much dialogue. I always appreciate that.
Yeah, look at that quality storytelling in the Sega Master System age.
Well done.
Good on you.
But it makes sense if the Doom 4 is going back to its roots. Doom 3 was notoriously not much like the original Dooms and a lot more like System Shock.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing that bugged everyone about Doom was the fucking flashlight issue.
Well, yes. Well, that was resolved in the HD edition, but didn't feel the same. I mean, you can tell there were a lot of the game that was specifically designed so there would be light problems.
I mean, that's an interesting, there's a good game design question, is you know, difficulty has to be imposed in video games, so you can't just be ultra powerful. So the idea of limiting vision, limiting what you can see, makes sense, especially in terms of a game that's supposed to be scary.
Well, that was the idea.
Yeah, but then, you know...
They specifically wanted visibility or being able to defend yourself to be a constant choice for the player.
And...
in practice,
I mean, how do you feel yet? Did they cross the line in your mind to just being fucking annoying?
Well, I'm not sure. I've played through Doom 3 a couple of times, and I still like it more than a lot of modern shooters.
Huh.
But I don't like it as much as, say, Painkiller.
Painkiller's a bit of a lark.
Because a lot of people call that the unofficial Doom 3, because that was much more the tone of high impact, high speed violence. No cover, run around, dodgy, shooty, monster, killy. Wrangling, that's what it was. It was all about wrangling the enemy.
Yeah, just hoarding him into a bottleneck and just going whee. Although I will say the default weapon,
bitch.
The default weapon seemed a bit fairly powerful.
Well, that's the beauty of the game. All the weapons are useful all the way through.
Oh, I didn't know that was sort of a central sort of aspect of it. I was just surprised because I was able to get through so much just with the little spinny twirly crawl. Oh.
Yes, but the other weapons are also fun to use, and I think that's one of the crucial aspects of Painkiller is that the weapons are all basically viscerally fun to use.
Yeah, there is just a basic joy to be had just running around and fucking smacking stuff.
The shotgun feels like the
cock of God.
The spunk of God.
Eat it!
I think my exact phrase in my Painkiller Zero Punctuation review was the sound of God slamming his car door.
To wake up the neighbor.
Or was that about the double-barrel shotgun in Doom 2? Well, same is true either way.
Eat it, creatures of the sea.
Well, so I try not to buy into hype, as you know. And all these people reporting back from QuakeCon saying how good it was are obviously the people most likely to say such a thing. Because they were at QuakeCon.
The people most...
being spoon-fed like
most
little
vulnerable
bitches.
to the hype.
Yes. I mean, there were reports of people in the auditorium shouting out, obviously extremely unfunny people with no friends, shouting out, "Shut up and take my money!" Because this is the communication of the person with no sense of humour. Quotes from other funny things that other people have seen.
Oh no, I think references and intertextuality are fine, but
Lowest
I think...
form of wit.
You use them when you see fit to use them.
Well, you're just getting defensive because you use them all the time.
Well, yeah, I don't think there's an inherent problem with them.
Well, I do. Well, I think we've reached an impasse in this debate.
Have you got any tips for where I'm supposed to be going? Fuck you, Cloud!
I don't know. It's your game. I'm not even paying attention. Go in the door with the window in it. Oh,
yeah, it's just Piggy McGee trying to sell me shit.
I see.
Alright. I wanted to buy that, you little pig fucker.
Well, of course he's a pig fucker. He is also a pig. There is no shame in it. In many ways, you are praising him for his sexual prowess.
Now I'm a lizard man, okay. So I don't think I can buy those because I think they might be relevant to other classes.
Oh, you can get different characters.
Alright,
I wondered why they specifically said you were a human at the start.
Human! Hello, human.
So are you Dragon now?
I mean, take like Duke Nukem for instance, you know, a lot of the humor in that's not it. It's like none of the lines were fucking Duke Nukem, they were stolen from other bloody things.
Yes, and that's what made him such a pont.
In the first one.
Well, yeah. I mean, at the time, there was a greater self-awareness about it.
Well, yeah, no, but the fun of it was in, like, games that referenced, you know, those kind of Easter eggs were quite rare before that.
I think it was alright in that because he wasn't claiming to have a character outside of that. He was just stupid 90s, like, stereotypical hero.
I think
man.
manly guys doing manly things had a good thing about him, where he's a complete old film nerd. That's, like, the only thing about him. He just wants to hang out and, like, watch fucking action movies from, like, the mid to late 80s.
That webcomic.
It's a good webcomic, I like it.
Yeah, I quite like it. I think it sometimes has some issues in the writing.
Oh, there you go.
Well, it has good ideas, but I think sometimes the dialogue's a bit wordy. This is just my professional opinion.
What's your personal opinion? Well, I don't know. You created a divide, so I'm curious.
I have no separation between the two.
Okay.
Because I'm working all the time. I'm working right now. My mind going a mile a minute.
Always on point.
So... Doom 4, except now it's just Doom. might be alright. Who cares? Why are we even talking about it?
Well, it was your thing.
I said it would be a quick one.
Alright.
Next topic, and forgive me for editorializing a little as I wrote this topic down. Cynical headline grabbing in the world of comics. Thor getting gender swapped and Archie getting shot by gay bashers. Did you hear about these stories?
I heard about the Thor one, I did not hear about the Archie one.
Well, who the fuck reads Archie, honestly?
Yeah, I know, it's weird, because that's the thing that creeps me out about Archie, is it's still going, and...
Yeah,
I mean, I know there's a little bit of, well, no one I know reads it, so obviously no one reads it, but really, who...
It's almost like a newspaper comic, but...
Yeah, they're just sort of, it's just continuing.
It's like some sort of embodiment of nostalgia for 60, 70-year-olds that just never goes away because they keep reading it.
It's
like Mark Trail or something.
Who's that?
You know, one of them shitty newspaper comic strips that have been running for, like, centuries.
Oh, like Garfield and all that.
Yeah.
Alright, look, I've explored everything I can to the right,
Or
so
Maryworth, or Apartment 3G.
Those are weird, like those things that exist, I think, only because people have forgotten to get rid of them.
The story of 3 professional 30-something ladies in downtown America. It's been running for 80 fucking years or something.
What, Maryworth or Apartment 3G?
This is Apartment 3G.
Ah, okay. I'm gonna look that up when I get some time, because I'm curious. I want to see this, like, fucking 80-year-long comic.
Yeah, the characters in it, by rights, should have been reduced to dust by now.
Exterminated by one of Obama's death panels.
But yes, Archie is apparently going to be killed, and he's going to be killed taking a bullet intended for a gay friend.
Okay, that's interesting because, you know, Archie isn't exactly the kind of comic where people just come back to life. Like, if this was like Captain America, you'd be like, oh, yeah, he'll be back. But, I mean, how many times has, like, Archie sort of met death and then...
I think I remember hearing that that the comic's just ending.
Really?
Or at least this particular imprint of it is ending.
Huh.
And they might just start another one called, I don't know, The Spectacular Archie or whatever.
God,
I don't know, I get very cynical when a newspaper headline reveals this sort of thing. Because it just seems very cynical headline grabbing to me.
Well, I mean, this was where we get back to the problem of, you know, what's representation and what's tokenism.
It just seems a bit heavy-handed to me. I mean, I guess it depends on the context of why someone is shooting his gay friend. I mean, if it is just someone who hates him for being gay, it seems incredibly heavy-handed. Because
I mean, ask Uganda, man. I mean,
people who hate you for being gay, in America at least, don't just pull out a gun and shoot you in the street. That seems incredibly stupid. At most, they just sort of get bitter and resentful about you in Fox News broadcasts.
Or, you know, weirdly protest soldier funerals. But I love the sort of logic of the God Hates Fags people. It's like, America loves fags, so obviously that's why soldiers die.
Have they been doing anything since the patriarch died?
I don't know. I
haven't heard.
Again,
so, maybe we can stop complaining about them now.
Well, I've always just, you know... I think the nice thing about them is they brought a lot of other people together. You know,
Well, I've always said, you can't unite people with a common gain, you can only unite them with a common threat.
It's usually a bit easier, yeah.
That's the only reason America and Russia worked together in the Second World War.
Eat it. Speaking of Russia... Man, shit's going crazy there.
Oh yeah, the whole Ukraine business.
Yeah, and another Malaysian flight. There's a level of synchronicity on that Malaysian flight that's just fucking insane, I mean...
Malaysia just must be feeling pretty fucking cursed right about now.
It's like,
maybe
they're a good airline, god damn it!
Have they angered any gypsies?
Possibly.
Just the luck of the draw, I suppose.
You know, that's the problem with gypsies. No sense of humor.
No. Well, we don't know that.
Filthy jippos. You can get fucking... Okay, there's a bastard thing about this game. You can get stun blocked even when you're flickering. Which...
Oh, that is bastardy.
Yeah, that I think is a little bit dicky.
That's the whole point. We'd have a flickery moment.
Yeah.
So you can escape from this.
Oh, you cheeky bastard. You're on the fucking... Stop it.
The thing that hurt you.
I wonder what that does. I wonder if I'm even going the right way.
Well, you're in a desert. That usually means you're going the wrong way.
Oh, fucking...
You're just heading into flat, featureless plains of sand. This is usually the universal sign of maybe go look for better signage.
Yeah, but this game isn't really about a lot of signs.
Crab! Or scorpion, whatever.
It says those are doing an awful lot of damage.
Why did 8-bit video games have this perception that scorpions shoot fireballs?
I don't know.
I can remember a couple of cases of scorpions shooting fireballs in 8-bit video games. The other one that comes to mind is Sonic 2 for the Master System. Oh, that was a game I had for the Master System. I had Sonic 2.
See, I prefer to use that on the
good.
Mega Drive. Like the Master System Sonics were a little bit, you know,
Well, it
obviously
was
'cause they're
originally
reduced.
on the Mega Drive, wasn't it?
They
They ported it to the Master
yeah.
System because they were like, oh, this is a cash cow. Better
Milk it!
better let everyone in on it.
Alright, okay, so I think left is maybe... I'm gonna try right, just to see if I can come to somewhere a little more. Oh, it's you again, I hate you.
And of course, the other bit of cynical headline grabbing is Thor is getting gender swapped.
See, again with a... I mean, feel about it how you will, but that feels a little more like the fucking... That feels like the gender swapping Thor feels a little more tokeny just because...
Yes, it feels very tokeny. It feels way too easy.
I mean, he's not a character... This isn't like Captain America, where, like, there's a good pedigree of Captain America being other people. And yes, I know other people have picked up the hammer, but other people haven't been Thor, exactly. And they're saying that this is Thor, so that's... I mean, that's interesting. Again, it'll be interesting to see how they deal with it and what they do, but...
You said that could be interesting.
Well, I'm giving them an out. I'm giving them an out. I'm not going to say one way or the other that's going to be exactly fucking stupid, because maybe it turns out to be the best thing they've done in Thor since forever.
Well, funny you should say out, because I was thinking this whole thing is just too easy and in. It's just too easy. It makes people go, oh, how strong and powerful. It's the easiest way to get headlines on the internet these days, but it's not going to make a badly written comic not badly written.
Well, I can't comment to the quality of the Thor comic at the moment because I haven't read any of it, so it's out, it's out there. But like I think there's a more interesting case with like Miss Marvel, where I think there's a longer pedigree. Oh, well, like take Captain America for instance. The person who's been Captain America has a pedigree of changing. So the Captain America has a degree of separation from Steve Rogers. Like Steve Rogers is who we know as Captain America, but he has been sort of other people. Bucky Barnes famously.
That was was a lot of words to express the sentence "Captain America is just a title."
Well, yeah, there you go. I'm trying to play a video game, so it all has to come out at once. Oh, fuck, these frogs do too much damage.
You have that problem a lot, don't you? It all coming out at once.
I'm guessing
Never mind, I was going for innuendo.
Yeah, I'm struggling to find the innuendo. I'd like to.
Didn't really work.
I'm trying to help you there, yeah, trying to help you.
I don't really read superhero comics generally. Actually, I haven't read a comic in ages.
Injustice?
Besides superhero comics.
If Injustice...
Besides webcomics, I mean.
Yeah, well, the Injustice run that has been getting done for the video game has been amazing. I think that's
weird,
been really
the
fucking
video
good.
game story was just kind of shit.
Well, it wasn't done by Tom... Oh, God, what's his name? Some people I know actually know him, but he's an Australian comic writer and was given also the Earth 2 dimension in DC for a little while. But his work on Injustice has been really great because he's been basically given a dimension and allowed to make things happen. So characters can die, things can change, and as a result, you get actual, there's threats, there's stakes, things matter.
Well, as I said, I don't read superhero comics, so every time, like, a news headline on a general news site gets published as a news release that a comic book publisher put out saying, our next storyline is going to feature this shocking story.
Yeah.
My first thought is always, why did you feel you had to take time out of the day to tell me this about your made-up fantasy world that isn't real?
I don't know, I do... Like, it's for people who are into it, the changes are important.
Well, even for them, surely it just spoils it as well. Why can't you just let it be a surprise? Why do you have to release press releases about how brave and exciting your storytelling's being?
Well, I mean, they do press releases for things that aren't kind of brave and exciting. Look how progressive we are as well. More health. It's fantastic. I needed that. Enemy's hurt now. It's not fun.
I mean, the whole Archie thing as well. Why would you just give away this is what happens on the last page of the last book of Archie comics? That seems very dumb.
Damn it. Archie's been doing that for a while, though. Like, Archie's been in the here's how we're changing Archie to fit the times deal for a long time.
Could you imagine George R.R. Martin doing that? By the way, Tyrion dies in the next book, but guess you'd better buy it.
Better check it out. Last time you can see him, God, I fucking hate him. I've been waiting to write him out of the story for ages.
Almost makes me think of that shit they used to do in Silver Age comics, where they'd have a Like, the front cover would say, somewhere in this comic, this character will die! And it turns out his heart just technically stopped for 2 seconds because he was beaten up too hard. And then he wakes
the
up.
old film serial that Rocketeer was based on, called King of the Rocket Men, had the most hilarious cliffhanger ending things that you could possibly want. It was just delightful. Like, you'd see him in a house, and you'd see the house explode.
Yeah.
And then you'd watch the next week, and all they'd done is edit out this scene where he opens the door and leaves. And that would literally be it. He'd just be like, oh, just walked out.
Well, if you try to have a cliffhanger every episode, of course, they're not all going to be world beaters, are they?
No, but the thing is, they were all like that. They were all just so marvelously bad.
That reminds me of when I used to read Tintin albums. The
Things,
the collections. The page, the
can go in lava.
collections
Dragons.
of
Cool.
the pages they used to publish in Le Petit Vingtième, where it was first published. And you could tell some pages he was just struggling to think of a cliffhanger to put before the next page. And one time, like, the page ends with someone reacting to a noise, like a bang noise, like coming from off panel.
Yeah.
And then the next page, very first panel, it was just like a radiator spitting or something. And when you're not reading it in the original format, where you'd have to wait for the next page, that it seems very weirdly written.
Yeah, I can see that. I think because I tend to read comics in blocks, like in terms of trade paperbacks and stuff. So a lot of the narrative can be really fucked up by the fact that I don't have to wait a month for the next one.
Yeah,
Like it's like, here's a crazy thing. Term page. It's stupid instead.
Yeah.
And I think that's, a little bit, I'd say, is probably my fault for reading it like that, Like, there's a degree of relevance to the pacing, I suppose. I wonder what CP stands for.
Capture point?
Sure. Well, that has DP, I think, which is damage something? I don't know. Well, it's high, so I'm gonna give it a dragon. I'm a dragon, so I'll wear dragon armor.
So AP is armor points, DP is damage points.
But it's armor, so what's...
CP
Pimp Hat Skeleton again. What's up with you, dude?
CP must be coin purse. That's all the coins you have in your little purse.
It's literally the only thing that CP could possibly stand for.
You girl.
Yeah, it's like the casual sexism.
Well, it could also stand for Carl Pilkington, if you misspelled his first name. So you got that many Carl Pilkingtons in you, being very boring.
I'm not going to talk, I just want this to keep going. I don't want this ride to stop.
Cynical porpoise. You got that many cynical porpoises swimming about going, Jesus, fish again. I'm so weary of it.
The cynical porpoises are like completely tired of Marvel just changing characters' gender for, points.
Well, that's not strictly a cynical attitude. A cynical attitude is more like, oh, I bet this fish doesn't taste very nice.
Alright. Well, that was great.
Yes. So, piss off, comic writers. I hate you.
I'm not really that extremely opinionated about it as Yahtzee. I mean, I don't even think it's... I just don't care. Which I think is generally the better attitude to take toward it.
Well,
I think the people... Okay, we should discuss the people who flip out at, like this, like it's, the end of Thor as a character or some shit.
Oh, must we? Because we'll just be complaining about internet dwellers again.
That's an easy one. Alright, well, what's the next thing?
Stop being such twats, internet dwellers.
Okay, Pimp Skeleton, I know you're around here. Can't sneak up on me.
That's more That's more of a fedora skeleton.
Yeah, an actual fedora too. Oh, fucking...
He's going, why won't Mrs. Skeleton have sex with me? I'm her best friend.
Must escape this bullshit.
Look at my fancy stylish hat.
You shot me in the dick with an arrow. I wasn't ready for that. That's not fair.
I'm not wearing this hat with a suit like you're supposed to because I'm so edgy and different.
Didn't you used to do that?
Well, yes, when I was a twat.
Oh, that's interesting. Some historical perspective from your side. That's
Everyone
fun to say.
is entitled to change their attitudes.
No, I fully fucking agree. It's just I've never seen you sort of express that kind of thing yourself.
Well, I have a theory that a lot of, I think I said to you before, that we go through a lot of emotional maturation during our 20s.
Yeah.
And my pithy theory for that is that at the start of our 20s, we start them off wanting to stand out from the crowd, and we end them wanting to blend into the crowd. And I just, as my 20s wore on, I just started getting too self-conscious, so I stopped wearing the hat because I thought it made me look like a bell end. I don't want to say bell end exactly. Well, what would you say then? What would your preferred insult be?
Well, I don't know, not like I don't think it needs insulting.
Crap out?
Crap out.
Smacktard?
I do agree with you though. The thing about it just being like, yeah, when your identity is not yet formed and you have to sort of, you know, create one. Everyone just goes for like, here's some attention-seeking shit.
Yes, you make the mistake of thinking that clothes maketh the man. So if you just wear something that nobody else wears, except everyone who wants to wear something nobody else wears it.
Well, yeah. There's a lot of people on Earth, man. There's very few fucking original ideas.
Yeah, if you want to be original, wear a saucepan on your head.
Well,
Nobody does that.
Nothing stands out as much as the person who does the thing clearly to be seen as original. Like,
well, quite.
You know, that's
because I guess because they're so obviously self-conscious.
I mean, wear it if you're comfortable.
They stand out of a big room because they are the most awkward dude in it.
Barren awkward. Alright, well, you don't wear a hat anymore for reasons.
Yes. But speaking
your little character does because it's a nice identifier. I think we should make that, because someone's going to say.
I mean, the only reason I haven't taken it off the zero punctuation character because that's the icon.
Yeah.
That's how they're differentiated from other characters in the strip. But anyway, speaking of smacktards, I understand you've been following the EVO Pro Gaming League thing.
Well, it's not really a league.
Well,
exactly.
whatever it is, I don't know.
It's a fighting game tournament.
Alright. How was that then?
A lot of fun this year because all the regular mainstays of the tournaments who usually come really high and win were bounced out quite early.
Was there gender segregation?
No.
Good. Continue.
Yeah, so a lot of the, you know, the big sort of, fucking those guys!
You turned into a man when you became an angel.
Fuck it.
I think that's racist.
I'm going the other way again.
Good
well,
on you.
my soul is that of a man. I've been cursed to look like a dragon.
I think that's transphobic.
Why? Why do you encourage these people to comment on the YouTube?
I don't know. 'Cause I'm not the one who's going to get mad at them.
Yeah, I suppose. So what yeah, Evo. So Evo was really good.
So you like Street Fighter, obviously.
Yes, I do.
Are there any other tournaments you like?
None that I watched live. The interesting fun fact: the anime fighter BlazBlue got a sponsorship from the creators of BlazBlue, a 20 grand bonus for the winner. So it had an insane prize pool.
Blimey.
And fuck all entrants when compared to like Street Fighter and all that.
Serious business.
Yeah, like I think the number one prize was like $23,000, and that was for fucking BlazBlue of all games, which has like I think one of the fewest amounts of entrants, short of I think Tekken. I think the Tekken usually has like a low amount of entries.
Still, it's not a great annual income.
Oh no, but for playing BlazBlue, it's not fucking bad.
I guess not. What was the prize for Street Fighter?
Can't remember. I think it was about 10k less, but that was because Capcom just didn't shell out quite like
I guess
Arc Systems.
I guess they're complacent. I guess the BlazBlue thing was trying to build appeal.
It was, yeah. Yeah, the fights were interesting. The winner was a French player called Luffy, who plays using a modded Gen 1 PS1 control.
Is that his gimmick?
It's just how he feels comfortable, and to be perfectly honest, proof is in the fucking pudding.
One without the analog sticks.
Yeah, like a fucking pre-DualShock.
Huh.
I know, it's kind of novel. And I think probably for me the best match would have been him versus a Zangief player called Snake Eyes. And Zangief is not someone you see in the top 8 often.
What character was, what's his name, playing?
Rose, who's another sort of low-tier character.
Interesting. I'm pretending I know what you're on about.
Well, basically it came down to someone... I mean, Luffy wasn't really challenged in probably his last few matches, which was interesting because he fought his way out of loser bracket. Like, he had to reset the bracket. He had to win, something like 8 matches in a row, and he did. And he did it rather convincingly, with the exception of his match against a Zangief player called Snake Eyes, who was playing, amazingly. And if you watch the videos of it, Snake Eyes...
Sounds like it's making for a good underdog sports movie so far.
Maybe a little, yeah.
Fought his way out of the losers bracket.
Yeah, fought his way out of the losers bracket.
And only the final was the really difficult one.
Well, not the final. Against Snake Eyes wasn't the final, but Snake Eyes was the only, the final wasn't that competitive. Snake Eyes usually won, 3-1. So, not Snake Eyes, Luffy won 3-1 for a lot of them, so he was impressively dominant for... There we go. Well, I got over it. he was impressively dominant. Except against Snake Eyes, who was a Zangief player who you really... Because Zangief can get outzoned by characters who can jab him, poke him, or use fireballs. Fucking...
Could you maybe avoid them projectiles?
Okay, are you watching the fucking game?
Yeah, you could have easily jumped that.
I can't... The controls... This thing steers like a slug. Alright, well, that was fun.
You're not a slug,
I'm going
dragon.
to fucking kill you. Fucking... You just wait, Charlie.
So yeah, I wanted to bring up the topic of pro gaming, because this is something I've thought for a while. I've got a couple of friends who are into it, and when I hear about it, it always seems to be this anomalously popular thing, especially in like MOBA tournaments and stuff.
MOBAs are huge. Can't explain why, but good lordy, they are popular.
But I'm a professional games journalist, shut up, and I've always felt really distanced from pro gaming as a subject. I never seem to hear from it, even in my usual circles. And I think pro gaming has this real problem with the outside world. It seems really excluding, really hard to get into, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you and I are from a slightly different gaming generation, and I think you particularly are more of a narrative. You know, your favorite games aren't competitive games.
But I might be interested in watching a competitive tournament, but I'm not even sure where to begin, and it seems that there's no attempt to outreach to a wider community that isn't interested in playing the games, but might be interested in watching something if it's framed as a sporting event.
Well, gaming also used to be fairly heavily mocked. So people just, people who play video games, in any pro capacity, just don't think it's a thing to talk to go, hey, come watch this. Like, it's just, we just figure it's not your interest, so why would we bother you?
Well, I've always thought when I've seen, heard stories of pro gamers and heard from actual pro gamers, they always seem like kind of douchebags.
Possibly that too. I mean, I don't know,
what I've always felt is that the community needs a sort of intermediary. Like maybe some kind of column in like a popular news feed, or maybe a whole website that basically summarizes the matches, shows videos of the important matches, summarizes the tournaments and stuff, and has interesting commentary and debates about the whole thing without, I mean, the way it is, it feels like professional wrestling, but where the pro wrestlers do all the presentation to camera and stuff, and just make absolute twats of themselves. Whereas what they need is an actual, outside voice to come on and summarize what everyone's doing and why it's important and stuff.
I think there's some validity to that. I think the reason it hasn't happened is mostly because of that thing. I mean, do you think that... I don't think the MOBA tournaments are spoiling for attention. I mean, those things are huge, the prizes are colossal, and...
This is my point, it seems to be huge, but I seem to hear so little from
Well, I mean, just because you're not hearing about it doesn't mean it's not doing its thing and minding its own business. I mean,
I hear about sports tournaments all the time, and I don't give a shit about any of that. Couldn't get away from the World Cup.
Well, yeah, but those get a lot more mainstream coverage.
I feel if it made the effort, pro gaming could be a lot bigger, because it's something that anyone could get into, even the less physically able.
Well, I mean, again, I think it comes down to is that if you already have like a huge amount of attention, enormous prize pools in terms of the MOBAs, what motivation is there really to do that? You've already got fame and fortune. I mean, I'm part of the Brisbane fighting game community in that the major tournaments are all run by a friend of mine, and I help out in my little way. And we do, we would like it to be bigger. We would like more people to come, and we do sort of reach out. We're having our first blood tournament in next year's Button Smash, where we get people who've not played before, are completely unfamiliar with Street Fighter, and you can enter a tournament and maybe win prize money.
Ooh.
So it's a bunch of noobs who can just come along and you don't worry about not being good at it, because the person you're fighting is probably equally poor. So we're doing things to make it open.
I have a specific technique when I'm asked to button mash a game.
Is it to button mash?
So when I find myself caught playing a fighting game against someone.
When does that happen, really?
Every now and again.
Yeah.
My usual technique is to start button mashing and then find a move I like and then just spam that constantly. Because you may have noticed when we were playing Alex Kidd, that's my paper, scissors, stone strategy as well. Because people don't expect you to keep doing the same thing. They need to get their head around it.
It is a bit counterintuitive.
Exactly. It's the last thing they'll expect, said the First World War general, sending his men out onto the front for the 18th time that day.
Over you go, lads!
I remember to walk slowly.
That did actually happen.
I know.
The Australians particularly, because we get used as a soldier fucking source for England for, you know, a few hundred years.
Yeah.
In Egypt, we're told to capture a fucking... It was, I think, like, an order got misheard. So a bunch of the light horsemen charged just where all the fucking cannons were.
That's the charge of the Light Brigade.
Probably, yeah.
Famous story.
Fucking...
There was a famous poem about it called The Charge of the Light Brigade. By, I think it was Alfred Lord Tennyson, wasn't it? Why am I asking you?
I don't know, possible. I'm in the middle of trying to defeat a fucking stationary skull, which is proving to be the world's most difficult goddamn thing.
Sooner you admitted you're just shit at games, the sooner you'll be happier in life.
Look, it's Fantasy World dizzying me.
Oh,
so,
hey, except there's actually an obvious way out of the invisible thing. Whoa! Hidden boss!
Booger boss, I remember you.
It's Mummy Armadillo. Or something. Where? You just can't believe your audacity when you shoot him in the face.
He's just fucking offended. He keeps coming even when I fucking shoot him. That won't help.
Come on. That's the way. Hit his stomach with your face.
Damn it.
How are you supposed to dodge that?
You have to be close. And again, like, the dodging in this is made
I suppose
fucking...
you could have ducked that.
Yeah, I was in the wrong spot.
We're just both magnetized to the Mummy Armadillo now.
It's a unicorn a bit as well.
And I think it's got a pink bow on its head. So it's also Miss Pac-Man.
Just more women tropes in games.
Yeah.
Oh, poops.
What are you complaining about, women?
Yeah, clearly, here's all the representation you could possibly want.
We put a bow on shit, what more do you want?
Yeah. Alright, now I don't want to hit the little fucking dude, because he means I can't get the money. Go away!
What's going on?
Well, I defeated the boss, and now I'm a little mouse.
You're a little midget.
And now I can stick to walls.
That sounds useful.
I already got that key and fought the boss. So yeah, now I can... So as you progress through the game, you get little abilities that give you, that let you move about more, so you can explore more. So it's kind of like a little Metroidvania-y quality, but now I'm tinier, and probably take more damage and everything sucks.
Did we have any more to add on pro gaming?
Well, I mean...
Anything besides reiterating points we've already made?
Probably not really. It's niche. That's it. It's fun though. If you are curious, look into it.
Well, I've tried.
Ow, dick.
I've tried, but I've always found it so, like there's a big wall in front of it.
Yeah, but you're a little funny that way.
I don't see any reason why you shouldn't get Defense of the Ancients highlights on television. With a couple of charismatic talky guys explaining what's important about it. There's two Australian dudes.
Which ones?
The ones who did the alternative Olympic commentary.
Oh, yeah, Roy and HG. They're great.
Roy and HG. We need a Roy and HG for pro gaming.
I actually support that. I would love a programming. I would love to. Yeah, you're completely right. I love the idea of
Maybe I'll talk to Jim Sterling.
The Roy and HG of programming.
But actually, yes, that was another thing
I want to get up to your fucking tasty fucking treats.
That was another thing I wanted to bring up, actually. I've started a new video series on The Escapist, alongside Jim Sterling.
Which obviously is not getting promoted enough.
Well, I think it's worth looking at, because I think we've done a pretty good job on the first video, and hopefully we'll continue to do a good job. And I'm really into it because it's the first chance I've been getting to use my AVI synth skills on actual game footage. See, Escapist has a lot of series that are all commentaries on stuff, but we don't have so much game footage-based stuff. But we didn't want to do straight Let's Plays, you know what I mean? So the concept we came up with is called Uncivil War, and it involves me and Jim Sterling competing at short, wacky challenges within games. For our first episode, we play Watch Dogs and compete to see how many people we can run over who are wearing the same colour as the car we're currently driving. And I won't spoil who wins that one, you'll have to see for yourself.
I wait with bated breath.
So, yes. So, that's going to be a weekly series, hopefully. It's to replace Rhyme Down Spectacular, because we stopped doing that. It's a much more collaborative work on Civil War, because Rhyme Down Spectacular was just me and Jim writing poems in individual vacuums.
I just want to write poems at you, dude.
Yeah, and for some reason that just didn't seem to build the appeal. the way Zero Punctuation did, anyway.
A thing that only you two are really interested in?
Who doesn't like poetry?
Lots of people.
I love an elegant phrasing, don't you?
I do.
I like a good bit of iambic pentameter.
What do you suppose that does?
It makes my...
Ow!
Hurt you, apparently. It makes my loins go bubbly blue.
Alright, well, now that you're...
Dee-dip, dee-dup, dee-diddly-dup, dee-diddly-biddly boggly bum.
Shall we get... Fuck!
I like a rhythm in a sentence.
Fucking dick butter.
Well, now I've done my plug.
Great, that's just super...
Perhaps we should move on to the concept I threatened to introduce last week.
And aren't we all regretting this?
Yes, we asked for your questions to fuel a Q&A section for the last 15 or so minutes. And, well, you came out in force, didn't you? In quite a few avenues. We had a few under the comments, a few went directly to Gabe.
Yeah, because Yahtzee didn't bother reading any of yours, so that's, you know...
Yeah, so a few people tweeted questions to my Twitter account. Those were basically wasted. Well, just because when we were putting them together today, we didn't even bother looking at that. We just looked at all the questions you got on your Twitter, and then we looked at the comments under last week's video. Because that's what we said. If you'd listened last week, we said keep it to Gabe's Twitter or under the video. But oh no, you knew better. Oh no, let's go straight to the source. But anyway, we got a big list of questions and the names of the people who posed them. Most of them from Gabe's Twitter account at Gabriel N Guard, Guard. If you want to send some for next week.
If you want to send some hate mail, you can yell directly at me.
So
Ow!
So why?
I missed the dragon. I could shoot.
So why don't we start with? A question from Matthew McLean. Thoughts on the British monarchy, past, present, and future?
Past, sure, that's just kind of how things happened. Present, bit weird. Future, really?
I think there's nothing wrong with a monarchy in theory, but it only works in a smaller community. Because how those work is that you got your butcher, he butches. He has a son, and he trains up his son to be the next butcher, because that son is in the best possible position to learn how to be a butcher.
It was all pre the idea of, you know,
Yeah.
public education and what have you.
Same is true of the baker and the candlestick maker, and the same should be true of the ruler as well. Only one person is in the best possible position to learn about statecraft and diplomacy and warfare, and that's the person being brought up by the current person who does all of that. So in theory, the hereditary monarchy makes sense. It's when you start bringing in the whole divine right of kings side of things, and start concentrating more on the spirit rather than the letter of the law. And start saying this person is going to be the next king, regardless of whether or not they've been trained to be king by their dad.
Yeah, or how good they actually are at it.
I think that's where it got a bit skewed. It's like religious text, you know? There's a lot of religious text that says such and such is evil and should not be done, that reads to me like it probably just started out as good advice someone gave someone else. Like the whole thing in the Bible about not eating shellfish. Shellfish are not good to eat.
Desert food.
And they're not good to eat for a big part of the year.
Also, if you're getting shellfish while you're wandering the desert, it's probably not, you know...
A lot of the time of the year, they'll just give you food poisoning. So that probably started as just someone saying to his son, maybe don't eat those, because you'll be as sick as a dog. And that maybe someone wrote that down, and they got queered into religious teaching. I think the same might be true of not touching women that are on their period. I think someone maybe said...
Oh, my shield just blocked a thing!
I think maybe someone took his son aside on his wedding day and said, listen, son, maybe don't touch it while she's got the painters in, because that shit will mess up your bedsheet.
Communists in the funhouse is
and
probably
then suddenly
my
it
favorite.
becomes, God says not to touch the ladies when on the periods.
Well, God says it's a good way of stopping follow-up questions.
Well, quite. It's like, it's the next trump card to pull after because I said so, isn't it?
Because God said so.
Yeah, that's it. All organised religion stems from parents being too lazy to explain things to their kids.
And that's why gays can't marry.
Exactly. So, don't blame religion, blame your dad. blame the universal dad for not wanting to get off his armchair and stop watching Super Bowl Sunday to explain to you where babies come from.
The All-Father. The negligent All-Father.
Monarchy in the
Fucking
present
tits.
day, that's another matter, of course. Personally, I don't think it makes a lot of sense. I think, I mean, a lot of... all the arguments I hear to support the monarchy these days are basically along the lines of... not along the lines of why there should have been a monarchy in the first place, they're more along the lines of why it would be more work to get rid of it at this point.
Probably would be a hassle.
It's like the Doug Stanhope thing. If marriage didn't exist, would you invent it? If the current British monarchy didn't exist, would you invent it? No. Why would you just hand out all this privilege to this one random family for having had the sterling good judgment to be born? Well, I used to be more hardline against it than I am now, because I think it does serve a sort of role as the mascot of the country. They're like the dog. Everyone.
If only you could pet the queen. Like, I'll just rub her head and just go, oh, you're a good queen. You're a good queen, aren't you?
Everyone likes to have the dog around. You know, it's nice to feel like there's something that's totally dependent on us. And no one expects the dog to do shit. That's the royal family's job.
That's a good attitude. Took me all the way back here. That's not what I wanted, dick butter.
I mean, I know we say that the Queen is the head of state, but, you know, some people do that. They say, oh yes, the dog's the one in charge. Look at the look on his face.
They have vetoed legislation, though, which I think is fucking peculiar for a democracy.
Well, they have the power to, but they very rarely do.
No, but they have. Like, I've read a thing on The Guardian about how they've actually affected policy. I mean, like, again, not
the
like
only
what
case
I call
I
massive
know,
shit, but
the
still.
the only case I know of is that the Queen stepped in when the former butler of Princess Diana was being
No, there's been other things.
investigated
Like, just
for...
policy stuff, like, not like...
Well, do you know off the top of your head what they've been vetoing?
Well, no, I mean, this was ages ago I read this. It's about, like, about a part of a year.
Okay. Well, what do
You
you
can, I'm
have?
sure someone could Google it.
Do you have strong thoughts on the monarchy? Being an Australian, what's your perception of the monarchy? Speaking from the position of the Commonwealth.
Well, the Commonwealth's dead. Like, it's the Commonwealth Games, pretty much. I mean, the whole idea that somehow if there's... It's kind of like the ANZUS Treaty, where we have a treaty with the United States where they'll help us if anything goes wrong.
But you still consider the Queen to be your Queen, though?
No. Goodness, no.
Well, I think Australia generally does.
Oh, well,
that
yeah,
is-
that
is the policy of the
technical,
nation.
Yes, technically, it is the policy of the nation that, yes, the Queen is the head of state, not the, our dick butter, not the,
Wasn't Tony Abbott talking about bringing back knighthoods and dukedoms?
yeah, he brought back something along those lines. Less said about him, the fucking better.
I suppose.
I think it's archaic and silly. Like, it's just weird to me. Like, it really is. Like, the idea of a monarchy is bizarre. I think it's bizarre and embarrassing that we're not a republic. Because, I mean, again, even ignoring all the ideas of a monarchy, what does the British monarchy actually have to do with Australia's day-to-day fucking policy or life?
Well, it was put to vote, wasn't it? Like, during the Howard government.
Yeah, the Howard government...
There was a referendum.
Yeah, the
whether or
Howard
not to become
government
a
kind of
republic.
worded it in a way, messed with the wording of it in order to make it just seem less appealing, because
That's not what I've heard. I've heard the Howard government were in favour of becoming a republic.
No! Where'd you read that?
I don't know. Well, from someone a while
No,
back.
John Howard's a monarchist. No.
Okay.
People in the Howard cabinet have been,
It's funny how
Republicans
how I've never met a monarchist politician who wasn't also conservative.
and old.
Yeah, I
Because
suppose
it's an old, insane thing to stick to. Like, there is no reason...
I suppose the point of the conservative is just to keep things how it's always been. I mean, the word conserve is right there in the
Like,
name.
if there was a benefit to it, like, if being part of the Commonwealth meant I could, like, go and work in the UK, or there was some sort of economic tie or something like that, but there isn't. None of that's None of that exists. So
If you were a girl, you could go and work in a bar in Britain. Seems like half the barmaids over there are Australian.
Foreigners just work in bars. It's a good place for backpackers to go because a lot of bars will always have a good high turnover. Like big output bars will have a high turnover of staff, and if you can serve booze in one country, you can usually serve it in others.
Well, quite. I mean, why go to a foreign country and not get pissed?
Yeah, and it's a good place. It's a good way to meet people and have fun.
Or indeed, why stay in your current country and not get pissed? Why do anything and not get pissed? That's my question.
Your interest in drinking is coming along nicely.
The eternal paradox of you. Did you want to nominate our next question?
I'm busy killing, so you can go through.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind trying to answer as many as possible, so if we could, like, maybe pick one that we can just answer, like, in a second, like, oh, that's a stupid question, something like that.
Okay. Sam Wilkinson asks, what do you both think of compulsory voting?
Did you listen to what I said?
Well, just give a quick answer then.
I think it's important.
Okay. I do not vote, so I can't really comment. I'm not officially a citizen of Australia,
Yeah.
I'm only a permanent resident. But I never voted in Britain either, because I couldn't be asked.
I don't think that's good. I mean, like, your relationship to Australia is a little bit different. If you ever wanted to, like, become an Australian citizen, then I'd recommend you vote. I don't know if you want to bother doing that. I don't really have an opinion either way. If you do, you don't. It's not my problem.
Well, there's a slightly insidious system in that your vote can get passed on to a party you didn't necessarily vote for with the Australian system.
No, but that's not how it works. It's preferential voting. It is a party you vote for by allotting your preferences. And there are also ways around doing that. But yes, preferential voting and stuff like that's important because what this means is even minority voices get
well, for the benefit of the listener, how does preferential voting work?
Well, the idea is okay, say you got like 4 people, right? When you're voting, you number 1 through 4 on each of them. 1 being the person you'd like to run the place, 4 being the person you'd least like to run the place. If then after like all first party votes have been handed out, the like preferences are then handed out, and what this means is that my shield blocks.
Yay.
What this means is that minor parties that may never be able. Oh, dicks.
That shot you right up the bum crack.
May not be able to affect policy or do anything on their own, will gain a degree of relevance.
Yes.
And this means that, it isn't just the majority messing with the minority. So you can actually get, for instance, the balance of power in the Australian Senate at the moment is held by majority fucking little.
Well, it's a system that works for Australia because Australia isn't as much a two-party system as other countries.
It is.
Well, not so much as, say, America.
It's been a long time since someone not Labour or Liberal, but again, like the Liberal Party is a Liberal National Coalition.
Well, they said the same about the Liberal Democrats in Britain, but they managed to get a coalition party going with the Conservatives after a while.
That was weird.
But Australia's got the Liberal National, Labour, and the Greens, who all have a presence in government.
Yeah, but again, like it's still very much.
One weird one calls itself the Motoring Enthusiasts Party.
The most recent election had some gems, including the Palmer United Party, which is a uniting of all people called Palmer in Australia.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Motoring Enthusiast Party. Like, wait, if you ever bother to vote for the Senate in Australia, which I highly recommend you do because it's a laugh, you will find some, because just any nitwit is allowed to just go, I'm a Senate candidate, and pretty much. Like, on one issue, they will get, like, votes. Like, there'll be, like, the hunting, fishing, and shooting party, or the Stop the Greens party, and stuff like this. Like, it's great, batshit.
I think there's a place for one-issue parties.
Oh, yeah, and see, I think
the government might be better run if every party just had the one issue.
Well, this is, the benefits of preferential voting is it lets the government have a better idea about what, people are actually feeling, because you can see where these minority votes go. You can go, okay, so the hunting and fishing party got X, so that means, so many people care about hunting and fishing. So.
And it's weird how many issues get politicized these days. I mean, technically right-wing, at its most basic meaning, is just that you believe in small government. But now it's come to mean all sorts of other things, like you're pro-life, and you're probably more religious, and all
that's the problem of groups and titles.
I mean, that's the problem when political parties are multi-issue and, like, try to absorb other parties and stuff, I suppose.
And I mean, like, I've got friends who are, like, who are quite, like, economically conservative, who are really annoyed with the Liberal Party because they're meant to be economically conservative, but rather than having a price on carbon, like this is what the carbon tax thing is, rather than having a price on carbon, which many would think is a, you know, that's a free market solution. That's, you just price it and then the market solves the problem. They're going for direct intervention, which is weird. Like, that's, the idea of direct intervention is somewhat antithetical to what you'd consider traditionally conservative economic values.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's a lot of weirdness. It's strange. Like,
well, I think, probably answered that question a bit longer than we intended to.
but I think compulsory voting's necessary because it at least forces people to give a shit occasionally, and I think that's needed.
Yes, I agree with that. Right. Pendulous Phallus asks, who's the better kisser? Only one way to find out!
Your beard's gross.
Alright, we'll research that and get back to you next week.
It's gross. Who wants to know that? Your gross pendulous testicles.
Solipsism Crisis asks, what would be your own custom flavour of cuppa soup?
What do I like in a soup? Maybe just a chicken that doesn't taste like that weird arse fake chicken. Like that would be nice, because you know, like the chicken flavor doesn't taste like fucking chicken. I'd like
you'd be hard pressed to find a cuppa soup that can have real chicken in it.
Well, you know, we're dreaming here.
Okay.
Because I am very fond of just a basic chicken soup. I am more fond of them when they taste like the chicken that they are ostensibly meant to taste like.
Well, that was a dull answer. I'll go for beef and sherbet cuppa soup.
Well, there you go. That's, you know, you can have the wacky... Oh, fucking...
I like how you managed to find a long-winded answer for that, by the way. Anyway.
I don't drink a lot of cup of soup.
So.
If you could choose...
See, we wrote down too many of these.
Well, we had a lot. The Nugfall. If you could choose someone to narrate your life, who would it be?
Morgan Freeman, obviously.
Brian Blessed.
See, I think Brian Blessed would be a disappointment if you did not lead a very exciting life 24/7.
I believe he could make any life exciting.
I think it would seem a bit disingenuous at a certain point. And then he went to the shops! Gordon's alive!
He's masturbating again! Marvellous!
Whereas I think if you have Morgan Freeman doing it, then everything you do sounds like there's so much greater purpose behind it.
A noble gravitas to...
Not many people would agree that masturbating was the best thing to do at this time of day, but hell, I guess Yahtzee wasn't one of those people.
Is that meant to be Morgan Freeman?
No, I can't do a Morgan Freeman.
Who was that? That was a Morgan Freeman that you just
that
got
was just a generic down-homey voice.
Fantastic. Alright, what's another... You keep picking, like, the fucking weird... I asked you to pick a simple one, you picked fucking...
I think they're fun.
What superpower would you have and why? Well, you suggested that one.
Do you want to credit that question, then, so that we can add some magic to their dull little life?
Scott Barker, here's your moment.
Thank you, Scott Barker. What superpower would you have and why? Yes. Invisibility. Next question.
I'd go for a Mr. Fantastic style stretch.
Obviously for sexual reasons. Why else?
Well, no, see, I'd stretch individual molecule chains of me out to be like filament wires, like the Yakuza guys had from Johnny Mnemonic, and then I'd just be able to, like, wisp through and cut people to pieces.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
like
see?
that.
I like stretching because I think it has uses that can be will-based.
I think if you made your arms into blades that could cut through anything, you could very easily cause an accident that way.
Well, I wouldn't just walk around like, you know...
Well, you know... If the kind of thickness we're talking about, the blades would probably be very flexible and go all over the place when you swung them about.
Yeah. But, you know, they're me. They're, you know, it's like how Mr. Fantastic has really amazing, like, control of his physicality. Like, I presume that, you know, I'd train to make sure I could use them and know what to do. I'd go to, like, Xavier's school. That's what
I want invisibility so I can go in a changing room and watch girls' tits.
He's not joking.
Though you have to be careful if the place gets steamed up, because this mysterious outline with a hard
vapor ghost of an erection
suddenly appear in the corner of the room.
Not joking. Favorite alien species from fiction?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I know, this is one of those dumb nerd ones that we can think about far too much.
You know, the one that always comes back to me is the two-dimensional aliens from that one episode of Star Trek The Next Generation.
I'm gonna remember.
Well, the ship was being like moved towards the sun, and they weren't sure why. And they'd put a specific scan on, and they didn't see shit. But then they tried putting the scan on from top down, and they saw that there were aliens all over the fucking ship. But they couldn't see them because they were two-dimensional.
I remember there was one that had holographic aliens that didn't register the meat people as anything, because they're just like, oh, what's that stuff? That's odd. And then went on about their life, because to them all life is photonic. I thought that was kind of cool. That's Star Trek in a nutshell, is like working out ways of having funny aliens that you wouldn't have thought of.
That was your favourite, was it?
Oh no, that wouldn't be my favourite. Man, it's neat. Favourite alien... It's a cheap one, but I'm gonna be stuck with either the Xenomorph or the Predator.
Boring!
What can I say? I mean, they're fucking great. They're great designs. Although, if you watch, there's some interesting documentary stuff about the Predator, the original monster design they had for it, that was actually played by Jean-Claude Van Damme.
It was more insectile, wasn't it?
Yeah, and kind of bird-like. It looks shitty. So, the monster you see in Predator, that amazing, mandible thing, was a second choice.
I don't really like humanoid aliens. I don't think that's trying hard enough.
Well, okay, pick one. What's yours then? So
So
are the 2D ones actually your choice, or were they just sort of an interesting idea you liked?
Another thing I found interesting was the whole concept of sphere. Not so much from the film, more from the original Michael Crichton book. They're making the case that they found this weird sphere that sort of fucked everyone's heads up and manifested their dreams and stuff. And they were making that whole, the token science bit in Michael Crichton's books. And they were making the case that maybe this was just something alien, a specific alien species used in their day-to-day life that we don't understand.
Like a drug or just something fun.
And that was interesting to think about. Not even a drug, maybe it's just how they live. They gave the example of if an alien that was allergic to oxygen stumbled upon a human space station and went inside and immediately died, they would think, oh, this was a trap designed to kill us.
Oh yeah, good point. Alrighty, what else have we got? Thoughts on fan-made games to cancelled franchises?
By?
Cloudy.
Cloudy asks that. Well.
Sword.
Go nuts, I say.
Yeah, so do I.
I mean, it's like the public domain thing. Sherlock Holmes does really well in public domain. If no one else is making the franchise, then you might as well.
Yeah, I think there's a fan-made Mega Man X game coming, which sounds really good because I love the Mega Man X games. So they're one of the best SNES games around.
I think a qualification to that. I think a fan-made stuff is a good thing to start out making. It is not a good thing to continue making. I made fan stuff when I was very young. I wrote like Red Dwarf fiction.
Really?
Didn't show it to anyone, obviously.
Oh, damn.
I think that's the problem with the internet. It teaches people that you have to show absolutely bloody everything you make to people.
How happy are you that you had a childhood before Web 2.0?
Pretty damn happy.
Oh, I know. Every day some kid does some harmless, stupid thing, but the whole world sees it.
The pressing thing is, we're probably the last generation to not do that.
This is something I keep trying to explain to millennials and shit. It's like, you don't know what it was like pre-Web 2.0.
Do you think it'll turn around, though? Do you think when we're old, people will distrust people whose entire histories are not online? Because we'll be in the minority at that point.
We'll be the weirdos. It'll be us that's strange. Well, we already are. I mean, we're probably the last generation of non-digital natives.
I mean, this is why people from our and Edward Snowden's generation still object to the NSA thing.
It's creepy and weird. Don't watch me. Don't see my bits.
Okay, Jason P. Ryerson asks, what is our personal favourite hangover cure? Do you have one from the old days?
Oh, the hangovers I got, there was no cure. It was just hell. Blue Gatorade, generally, and sitting still.
Because a hangover is caused by dehydration, isn't it?
Yeah, so
I find the best prevention for hangover is to stay just sentient enough during the night to have the odd glass of water between drinks.
Okay, you know what my honest cure was? Drink again. I mean, if I had shit to do, the trick would be...
Well, that's the other thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hair of the dog.
Have a shot of tequila, because that gets your liver processing again, and it'll actually make you feel a little better.
It does have an actual medical basis.
Yeah, and so I'd have a shot of tequila. If I had something to do that afternoon, I'd leave it at that, and then just drink lots of water. And the idea is you can then kind of rehydrate yourself, put some sugars into you, and sober up slowly over the day, and feel a bit less shit.
My usual approach when I'm hungover is to get in a big stodgy breakfast. That usually just comes from the fact that I can't be bothered making one, so I'll just go to one of the nearby cafes. There's the place around the corner that does a lovely French toast made from raisin toast that incorporates Nutella and strawberries and mascarpone, and it's lovely.
Oh God, that is a lot of sugar. I suppose, yeah, that's good. That's good for the hangovers. Yeah.
That's nothing. I used to live near a place that for a while did French toast with croissants. Again, with chocolate and whipped cream and strawberries.
That's... Oh, damn, that's a sweet way to start the day.
Shit.
If you could... okay, Bradley Clary asks, if you could switch the genre of one game, what would you pick?
Better make this the last question, because we've kind of let time run away from us with all these interesting questions we were answering.
You creeps.
If you could switch the genre of one game, what would you pick?
Yeah, see, I actually like this question. I think there's some fascinating, like, room in this one.
What do you want to answer first, then?
Okay.
So, I guess it can't be a game we really like.
Well, I mean, my first instinct is to make more shit fighting games, but as characters from other franchises occur in more fighting games, it's already been done a bit, you know?
When you say genre, do you mean in the sense of story or gameplay? I mean,
probably,
are we talking about turning
maybe you could choose both. Like,
are we talking about turning a fighting game into an adventure game, or turning a sci-fi horror game into a fantasy horror game?
I'd love to turn a point-and-click fighting game. That would be fun.
Yes. Well, they did that in Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade and Fate of Atlantis.
Well, yeah, they had the fighting moments, and you could do the cheat and push tab to get the knockout punch.
Yeah.
And then there was that big guy that you thought you'd be able to cheat your way through, and you just punch him and he goes, "Ha ha, your American tricks won't work on me!" And then you shat yourself. Because you weren't ready for that. Yeah, the fighting mechanics in that were not what I'd call terrific. They were a little bit lackluster. I hope anybody actually watching the video is asleep by now.
I did see, I saw a video a while back of a mod to Dark Souls that turned it into a first-person game.
Huh, that's interesting.
And that looked quite interesting, so that might be mine.
Maybe, like, crank the armor value on him and give him, like, a gun or something?
Yeah, first-person Dark Souls, and then later on they give you a machine gun.
Yeah, machine gun.
Just for the catharsis.
We probably should have gotten to Q&A earlier, considering we made a big deal about it.
Why, hello, Great Grey Wolf Sif. That's a nice melee weapon you've got there.
Rocket launchers! Rocket launchers.
This puppy's getting put down!
Yeah, so that's probably... I'd like to see...
I guess we better cut it off there, then. So, we learned bloody nothing about Wonderboy 3, except that it's... what are you doing?
I've been doing this for a long fucking time. I've been waiting just for you to say stop doing that, but you haven't noticed.
I've only just tuned in and noticed.
Yeah, I've been basically just playing Shield Pong with this, rad cloud dude for a while.
So, well, that game went bloody nowhere then, but I'm glad we managed to get some interesting discussion down. So, if you've got more Q&A, and just as a...
Here's Yahtzee's chastising moment.
Just as an initial rule of thumb, we tended to favour the non-game related question when we were picking ones for this, because I get asked gaming questions all the bloody time.
I think that and a lot of the questions game related were, have you played this game?
Yeah.
Which doesn't sort of lead to a lot, because what if the answer's just no?
And questions related to, like, my work and stuff have all been answered in various interviews or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you've discussed how you make the zero punctuation videos.
Ask different questions, like the one about the British monarchy. That was fine. I had stuff to say about that.
Yeah, I don't really care. I'm easy either way. But I think, my thing would be just, have you played this game is probably not going to lead to an awful lot.
No. So, there you go. Again... Put your questions under the video or in Gabe's Twitter. Because he just loves them, as you just heard. In the meantime, let's leave Gabriel to continue catching clouds.
I have to pee so bad.
And let's all move on to pastures new.
Once.
Yeah, I've heard that before from you.
You need to go to innuendo camp.
Yeah, I need to flex my innuendo muscles.
Alrighty. Good night, you sons of bitches.
I would provide good innuendo, but no one's given me one.
Shh.
Wearing his Alucard robe.
Alright, so basically, I'm going through a maze, so I have to sort of find the right ways to drop down.
It's kind of in the deep end for the very start of the game.
Yeah.
This is like last world of Mario Brothers shit.
Well, the idea is that you're actually in the last world of an adventure that you haven't been privy to.
Oh, I see.
So,
this
yeah,
is a flash forward, is it?
No. It's the start of the game, but the idea is, like, I'm coming to kill the last dragon thingy because, again, I don't know, he's probably mean.
Well, he's a dragon.
Yeah. Well, that's just racist.
I have a theory about the depiction of dragons in popular fiction.
Uh-huh.
I think they tend towards the villainous during economic downturns, and they tend towards a slightly nobler during economic booms.
Just like our opinions of other races.
I mean, the extremes would be Smaug from The Hobbit, and The Hobbit was published during the Great Depression, and on the other extreme would be Puff the Magic Dragon, which, and the most popular version of that by Peter, Paul and Mary came out in the 60s during the economic boom of post-war reconstruction.
Puff the Magic Dragon. Damn it, I'm stuck in my head now.
Thank you for your contribution to my intelligent debate.
Well, I'm trying to remember the way to go, because if you haven't noticed, I've been going the same. Okay, so this is new, so I come down here and it's like, alright, here's a new location.
I think it was new.
Well, I mean, it's not one of the places... Alright, now I've tried going down the right side, so I'll try going down the left. Ah, alright, yeah.
A skeleton.
So he's a new guy, so I haven't seen him, so that's a good sign. Oh, and a door.
Excuse me, mate.
All right,
have you found our heads?
Alright, yeah, I don't have keys. Alright.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, check out what category I am. Human.
Isn't that what the Ferengis used to call?
No, the Andorians used to call us pinkskins. Fucking racists.
Well, the Ferengis called us something weird.
Possibly, yeah.
I think they called us humans.
I remember they were actually going to be the major villains for, I think, part of Next Gen, but then they realized that they were just kind of too silly, really.
Well, I remember that being the case in one of the episodes while Gene Roddenberry was still alive. And Gene Roddenberry was very much into the very uncomplicated plots, where he has little monstrous aliens being dicks.
Fucking...
I remember when he was alive, he was saying that Next Generation the characters in Next Generation weren't allowed to have any interpersonal conflicts.
It's a fascinating way to construct narrative.
Yeah. So, thanks for... I mean...
Ooh.
I worry when they have to, like, catalogue all the Mario games. And we have to say, sorry, are we talking about Super Mario Land, Super Mario World, Super Mario 3D Land, or Super Mario 3D World? No. Super Mario 3D Land was on the DS. The 3DS, that's why it was called 3D Land. Oh, so Super Mario 3D World was on the 3DS as well. No, that was on the Wii U.
If anything, this will just give the folk of the future rich topics for various academics to debate and whine about.
Well, it'll mean there'll be rich territory for hipsters in the future, because there'll be plenty of room to say,
No, not that one.
Doom was actually Doom 4 that came out in 2014. That wasn't the original Doom. Didn't you know that? Are you stupid?
Penis.
But anyway.
Now I'm down here with these jerks.
See, this is what happens when you have an industry with no long-term memory. This is what happens when you get rid of backwards compatibility. Nobody learns anything. No one builds legacies. They just reboot all the fucking time, and I fucking hate it.
Well, I mean... Every new generation thinks its shit's new, so it's, you know, it's like us with film and TV and shit. Like, there have been remakes and reboots, and you go back and you look and find the originals, and it's like, oh, that's interesting, and it's a little learning process.
Yes, well, at least you can go back and... You can go to a video store and find DVDs of, like, old movies from the 50s.
A what store?
You know what I mean. But you can't
a bag of money
in video games because the industry psychotically cuts off the previous history every opportunity it gets.
You say as we're playing Wonderboy 3 The Dragon's Trap on widely available.
We stole it.
Yeah.
We weren't allowed to pay money to buy this anymore.
Well, there may be a way,
we knew how to get it because we're insiders.
Well, that and I used to own it. Dude, like, more than just... Oh, you fucking butthole, little crab. I think emulators are reasonably well known, and anybody who doesn't, I always take the time to go, this is MAME, or this is... this one in particular is Fusion 364, which is a really good Sega emulator, because it does everything.
I think you overestimate the buying public.
Well, they're not buying, are they?
It's important that all It's important that all history be available to all.
I agree. I think, these are important. This is why I really fucking lose my nut... No! I really lose my noodle. This fucking Cloud guy is...
You're having some real difficulty with that sentence.
The aspect that you sort of gravitate toward.
Possibly. I didn't have my Master System for very long. We had a burglary when I was a kid.
That sucks.
And we just didn't get one again afterwards. Got a C64 again.
With the tape?
Yep, with the tape deck.
Alright, well now I'm a dragon, and I have like 1 health.
And now this is
Hawkins gives me a password.
How here's a pirate pig.
So yeah, I'm just wandering around, checking things out now.
You disappeared before the door opened. That kind of bullshit really takes me out of things. It's just the same dungeon, but now there's water.
Okay, believe it or not, Sega Master Systems used to reuse an awful lot.
Oh, all right, you've made your case that this is quite a boring game. Perhaps we should talk about something else.
Okie dokie. You want to be a deer and just, hang on.
What?
That's right, I just realized this isn't.
Scratch your bollocks, what?
Well, that would be nice. No, what the?
What did you do?
Alright, well that's not a helpful door. Well, it's an exploration game, so I have to find the sort of next way that I'm meant to go. So I can't go up here, obviously, because
I feel the essence of the exploration game is for there to be other things besides what you've already seen to discover when you explore.
Well, again, the materials a Sega Master System had to work with were a little limited. This was actually an impressive game for when it came out.
Ha! I don't think they were trying.
No, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of, hey, it's just another heart. Wait, does that give me a whole... Yeah! Alright.
Wait, what happened to all those other hearts you had?
Being turned into a dragon kind of cocked them up.
I seem to remember you still had them for the first part when you were a dragon.
Yeah, then they went away.
Oh, I see. Delayed reaction thing.
Okay, can't afford that, can't afford that. I don't think I have any. Oh, I've got 0. Oh, that sucks.
I might do our list of topics in reverse order, because I have a feeling the top one you're going to be going off about.
I can stop. Like, it depends on just how much you want to talk to me.
Well, the other two aren't very big. So, first one is that the new Doom, which is not Doom 4 anymore, it's just Doom.
I like that when they just go, sort of reverse.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
I don't know, man. Like, how many new names can they... Like, because the big thing at the moment was putting colon and then something else. Like, Doom, colon, shenanigans.
Well, at least that's better than...
Dicks.
Fucking the same name as before.
Alright.
Because, you know what I worry about is the archivists of the future.
Somebody has to, and I'm glad it's you.
Yes, dying, Gene Roddenberry, and letting everyone do what the fuck they like with Star Trek. Because I think you were a child of your age, and you were unnecessary in a more cynical time.
Well, most of the best episodes of the original series were written by other.
Well, yes, but
fucking
again,
this has the reaction, like, you push a button and then like a second later something happens.
Yeah, it was in the 60s, wasn't it, original Star Trek?
Yeah,
like I said,
64, I think.
Very optimistic period of post-war reconstruction. So there.
Eat it, ya fucking mutt! And then this guy, I've been tricked!
You've been dragging your feet. And now you're a dragon.
On the plus side, I can shoot fire.
Yeah, I mean, to your credit, you don't seem to be letting this get you down.
Hey man, I mean, come on, if you were suddenly scaly and can shoot fire...
I mean, you almost seem to have this expression of grim resignation on your face about this whole situation.
Determination of a hero, man. I'm just like, yeah, whatever, I get turned into a dragon another day,
Oh, looks like someone tripped the fire alarm. Better evacuate.
Yep.
No, the fire door's the other way, Mr. Cyclops.
No, the fire door's locked, like all good fire doors should be.
Well, perhaps the manager was trying to get the best work out of his workforce.
Okay, those blocks hurt. 40 blocks hurt.
You hear stories about like people locking their employees into their place of work and there's a fire and everyone dies.
I think that guy was just running away from the collapsing building as well. I think I just did something really wrong.
Well,
like, he's not coming back to get me.
I think the fault lies with whoever decided to Pritt stick all these boxes to the ceiling.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good... It's not a very good storage solution.
Hey, you're not holding a shield anymore. I think we've made a breakthrough.
On the plus side, they are forming a nice way out for me. Oh, are you gonna hit me? Stop hitting me.
Man, this is like cinematic storytelling. I'm impressed.
Yeah, oh.
So we want to try that again.
Alright, can't do that.
Yes, I did have a Master System, but for some reason, the only game I remember having was Alex Kidd in Miracle World.
Well, it being the one that it came with was...
Yeah, I mean, presumably
I had a pimp hat.
Presumably I had
no discernible
others,
reason.
But they don't seem to have lodged at all in my memory.
Well, I don't know, maybe the C64 just had that sort of, unique creative...
And I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream from the top of my lungs various swear words and racial epithets the police have been called frequently. Hello, it's Yahtzee Crowshaw and this is my friend.
Hello.
His name's Hello.
You didn't finish. I have like fucking what's up blue balls now.
I like to tease you.
You bastard! I thought you were gonna do it. I thought you were gonna fucking finish.
It's very naive of you to think that. I'm surprised you would think that.
I at first I didn't think you were going to, and then you actually just went hell for leather and did it. And then you turned it around.
Yeah.
I think that was me.
I was going to take you right up to the brink and then stop for enhanced pleasure. That's exactly how I masturbate. Anyway, what are you playing?
I'm playing Wonderboy 3: The Dragon's Trap from the Sega Master System.
I see. Was this made by the same guys as Alex Kidd?
I cannot honestly tell you.
Because it seems similar. You really did seem to have a type when you were on the Master System, didn't you?
Dude, like, this is basically all Master System games. Like, a lot of Master System games look like this, played like this.
Well,
the weird thing is, the original Wonderboy was a little kid with, like, like leaf trousers, running along, throwing hatchets, and then it became a fantasy game.
Now you have a sword and a shield.
Yeah. Poke, poke, poke.
Is there a plot?
Yeah, basically, I'm a little hero who's here to, like, basically wreck a dragon's day because, fuck him. And I'm coming in heavy, so I've got, like, as you can see, like, a lot of health.
That shield ain't doing shit.
The old repeating maze trick.
Why are you even holding it up like a Dark Souls player?
Does nothing. I think it's a stat changer, so if you've got, like, a shield up, it just reduces the amount of damage you take. Because right now, like, I'm not taking very much damage.
Oh, so you can put it down, then?
Yeah. If you... Hang on, I'll just...
Sure.
Yeah, cheeky little buggers.
Show me. Two-hand it. That's what the non-scrubs do.
Shield list. Oh, wrong way. Okay, shield list. Legendary shield. I think that's taking it away. Alright.
No, there it is.
Maybe not, yeah.
It's like Castlevania thing. Even if you can wear, like, leather armor and cool sunglasses, but you're always just Alucard